So we're going to go through the Avatar Jumpstart boosters this time, and we're just going to open a few. We want to see the kind of different themes to see what can be played. Hopefully this will give you a good idea as to what the Jumpstart product looks like if you've never opened Jumpstart before. How it works or how it's designed is you're exactly supposed to do what the instructions say, which is shuffle 2 packs together and play. The reason for this was to give you those pickup games where, you know, maybe you would like to just come in, make a deck really quick because you don't have time to put a whole deck together, and then have a theme that goes with that deck as well as the basics in order to play it. So we're just going to get right into it. Again, we're only going to do about 10 packs of this just to kind of see the different kinds of themes. And we're going to go through the entire stack as opposed to separating out what the rare is and why it's important, just so that people can get a good understanding. So this is Earthbending, so I'm expecting to see some kind of big Earthbending card in here. They are always pre-wrapped on the inside, so you get the nice little token card here that will tell you what the focus of the Jumpstart pack is, and then you'll go right off into stuff for the deck. So since this one is Earthbending, I'm just going to leave that one right there. We get a Turtle Duck, Rebellious Captives, Earth Kingdom Soldier, Toph the Blind Bandit, and this is going to have Earthbender Ascension as our rare. And then it also is going to come with some Commander Supplemental cards, which is printed with this symbol as opposed to the Avatar symbol, which means these are not legal for standard play, whereas these are legal for standard play. So good to note. Separate those out, but Inspiring Call as well as Thriving Growth. We did get one fancy land, and then they give us all the same. So the goal of this will then be to take a second pack, open it up, and then put that together with the pack that we just opened. Now, sometimes you may not get the exact same synergy, or it may not be good, but as it's Toph, there's a good chance that this is going to have very good synergy with what you did, because Earthbending is something that Toph does. So let's see what we got in this pack. Starting out with Rebellious Captives again, we got another one of those cards that can't be played. We got Kyoshi Warrior Exemplars. So whenever this creature attacks, if you control 8 or more lands, creatures you control get +2/+2. And then we got Toph, Earthbending Master. She has landfall. Whenever land you control enters, you gain an experience counter, and whenever you attack, Earthbend X, where X is the number of experience counters you have. This is quite good, but for this deck in particular, what you'd end up wanting to do, as she is not the quote-unquote commander, she is just a rare that you would play in the deck. Tale of Katara and Toph is another rare that we achieved. It says creatures you control have whenever this creature becomes tapped for the first time during each of your turns, put a 1/1 counter on it. But yeah, so since you have 2 green decks here, you could in theory take out the Grove, but you'd want to keep it all together to have 2 40-card decks together. You then shuffle them together and you would play them as it goes. And since it's mono green, you have a pretty good chance of doing the thing, which just revolves around Earthbending and playing lands and playing big creatures until you overwhelm your opponent. So that's one deck together. Let's see if we can make another one real quick. So this one has Hebei. And look at that bear. But strength through sacrifice. So let's see what the theme is. Since we got Toph and Earthbending in the first one. So Hebei is going to be white. And again, it tells you the sub-theme there. So we are seeing a good amount of white. There's our koala sheep. And there's Hebei himself. Now he has his own abilities, but the whole goal of this was to focus on the white side. So that's why they give a bunch of white mark cards, and the lands that we will find will indeed just be nothing but plains, yes. So the Thriving will hopefully help us branch into the other color that we're going to do, which we're going to try and figure that out right now. Now, one thing that I thought was kind of cool or a good idea would be after you play the first Jumpstart match with your friends, whoever that wins, or, you know, if you guys are just playing best 2 out of 3, switch it up. You know, if you like, hey, why don't you take the Earthbending and I'll take Hebei, or why don't you take Toph and I'll take Hunting, for example, can definitely lead to some fun scenarios and show different kinds of things. But so now we have white-black. That's basically what we're going into here. And we have a Raven Eagle. We also have an Epic Downfall, a Desperate Plea, which says there's an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice a creature, and then you choose one or both. You either get a creature back from the graveyard to the battlefield if its power was less than or equal to the sacrifice creature's power, or you destroy a creature. But it's another lesson, so it definitely has some synergy there. But yeah, so then you would shuffle these two together, and then that would be its own deck to play in of itself. You can then play 2 matches. Best 2 out of 3 usually is what we do. Let's see if we can get some other deck examples really quick, just to kind of see what we do. Now in tournament setting, you're going to get 2 packs, and then you'll be able to either add a lot more to it as you go, or it will just be you only had enough to, or you didn't win, so you don't get to buy another pack, or, you know, however, whatever your LGS has decided to do. I know that the way the Jumpstart tournaments are supposed to work is whoever wins, they go on to the next round, or it's just a best of 1, and you play the 1 match, and then that's it. The Blue Spirit, this is a card that's been talked about recently because it says you may cast the first creature spell each turn as though that flash, and then whenever a non-token creature you control enters during combat, draw a card. So this is very good to do if you know that you're going to be casting a lot of creatures during combat. I think that Tetsuo Umezawa is going to love this card, especially with any other flicker effects that you can do, because if you can insert them in, especially with ninjutsu, then you're just going to run into those kinds of fun interactions that you get to see. Right. Oh boy. And this is our lovely neighborhood cabbage guy, at least from what we see. So we have an unlucky cabbage merchant. We have Bosco, who's just a bear, and the cabbage merchant himself. Whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, create a food token. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to you, sacrifice a food token. You can tap 2 untap food you control and add 1 mana of any color. Macabbages. If you'll notice, there's a distinct difference between the ellipses cabbages and the exclamation my cabbages. Big difference. But the cabbage render is still the same. So yeah, these 2 together would go pretty well together. And that would be that deck. Is it bad that I kind of want to everybody wants that? Musicians. So as you've seen, different ones can have different amounts of rares in them, but the theory and the theme and the playstyle should be roughly the same. So in this case, they want you to have a bunch of sagas. So far we only saw the 1, 2 sagas, and there is a chance that hopefully when we open our next pack, we will see more sagas to go through. So let's see what we got going on. It's soaring, so probably not so much on the saga aspect of it, and since there's only 2 in the first one, it's kind of misleading, but you could still play it pretty well together depending on what else you end up running with. This would be really good with the earthbending, so if you were able to make it so that that was the case, or you ended up switching with somebody who was like, yeah, I don't want to play this one, I want to play that one, you can make that work. And in some cases, as you saw, there are no rares, and that's because there is 1 rare as opposed to multiple. Each pack is pretty similar, but they're not all seeded the same. So in this case, you know, this would be the deck where it's blue-red, and the whole goal is to play flyers and then buff those flyers with the spells and also make the tokens that you need to make based off the deck. We're going to do 1 more for posterity and then call it good. See if we can get another unique combination that we haven't gotten already. Hoping I don't see any more cabbages, but also it's not going to hurt if we do. There we go. Insurgent. This looks like punching. with Momo the Rambunctious Rascal. He'd be punching. That's what I'm getting. What I'm picking up. With Hakoda. And Duelist Heritage. Ah, yes. That's rough, buddy. Very similar. And, yeah. Alright. This will be the last one that we'll do today. Just kind of get the idea of what Jumpstart is supposed to look like. But again, these are 40 card decks that you basically make. They're ready to go right out of the pack. Got another Hebei, so maybe this one won't have as much similarities as the other Hebei, but even if it does, that just shows you what to expect. Seems like it does. Seems like it's very similar, but also different. And yeah, so this is what Jumpstart looks like when you're opening your packs and you're playing with your friends. Make sure that everyone's on the same page and that everyone understands the rules. But ideally, you will take just 2 packs, slap them together, and have a deck to play with your friends. Hope you enjoyed.